Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. You know, while we were gone, I figured out what it was. Oh, sorry, let me turn this up slightly. I figured out what it was. There's no mystery, there's no intrigue, there's no strange happenings with a curse, and with Oyashiro-sama, none of it's real. It's that I'm putting these online, and that Oishi-san and Mion are watching the videos. Now, admittedly, they probably don't have very good internet. Like, watching it at 144p after waiting 3 days for 5 minutes of it to buffer. But that's what's happening. That's how they figured it out. Mystery solved, case closed. Everyone can go home. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted, whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon, and went to sleep with it in my arms. What a nerd, though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by that time I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed me. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then, I went to the washroom and washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. Remember, cleanliness is next to godliness. That wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. I never do that either. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide.
どうしたの、ケイイチ。今日はどこかにお出かけでもするの？
うん、学校に。
ケイイチくん、なんだか今日も調子悪
I'm
そう。
great.
やっぱり風邪かな。
風邪じゃなくて寝不足なんだ。寝ぼけてわけのわかんないことを言い出したらフォローよろしくな。
ケイイチくん、寝ぼけたらどんなこと喋り出すのかなちょっと楽しみかも。
I felt utterly shattered, and I still hadn't picked myself back up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rina's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes.
よ、ケイちゃんにレナ。おはよう。あれれ、みーちゃんもなんだか寝不足な感じだよ。
Mion had gone home early yesterday with sleep deprivation, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Were you standing outside my hallway all night listening? Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow.
うん、寝たの3時ぐらいだからね。眠い。
3時？昨日に続いてか？おいおい、夜更かしにも限度ってもんがあるぞ。大方漫画の単行本が面白くなっちゃって一巻から読破してしまったんだろ。
As you do.
うんうん、俺にも経験があるぞ。
Yes, I understand. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Rina smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Rina's expression immediately darkened.
あれ、ひょっとして村長さんのこと？まだ見つかってないの？
Oh yeah, the mayor, right? Yeah, I forgot about the mayor.
うん。
おい、ちょっと待ってくれ。
We're gonna learn about dark happenings with the mayor now.
村長さんが見つかってないって何の話だ？
Even the classroom, which is normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today.
おはようございます、ケイ 聞きました？なんだか大変なことになりましたわね。
Oh, what terrible
俺は
things.
その村長さんって人をよく知らないんだが、ジジイなんだろ？ボケて徘徊してるだけじゃないのか？
村長さんはボケてなんかいませんですわ。お習字も教えるし、剣道も教える、はつらつな方でございますの。僕と同じで、きっとどこかで迷子なのですよ。迷子いいね。はう、お持ち帰り。
Getting lost is only cute because children like Rika-chan do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats.
皆さん、おはようございます。
Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy.
すでに聞いている方もいるかもしれませんが、昨日の夜、村長さんが夜遅くに
And
なって
this
も
concerns
お家に
me
帰ってこなかった
how.
のだそうです。皆さんの中で昨日村長さんを見た人はいますか？
One or two hands went up in the silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves.
もしも村長さんを見かけた人は大人の人に教えてあげてくださいね。それでは授業を始めます。
After that, the same old lessons began. You know, now that she mentions that, I know it's like the idea that the whole village is sort of united in this whole thing, but that kind of makes me think like the teacher would turn on us too, given the chance. I don't know about this. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quieted, blossomed in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summoning them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the shrine's assembly hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set, and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late, and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. He got really, really hungry and stopped at someone's house, and they adopted him for their own because they saw he was a lost, wandering mare. Or not. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells, even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, then have the young men of the town help search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently even going to look in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of Onikakushi, of the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? That scary possibility, which everybody thought about, but nobody could say aloud, was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away, and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, knew. The curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have just been mine and Shion's turn next.
今度こそ俺かシオンの番なのにな。
I laughed painfully to myself. I yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Onigafuchi, the bottomless swamp said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. They'd always suspected Onigafuchi, but not once have they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom.
そういえば、サトシさんがいなくなったのも
Satoshi-san.
去年の今頃だったね。
I remember Satoshi-san. Him and his baseball bat. Huh? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. He was right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly.
サトシさんの時も
That's
確
right,
か
young boy.
こんな風に村中で探したんじゃなかったっけ。
Keep on talking.
あれも見つからなかったんだよね。あれって結局どうなったんだっけ。確か鬼隠しじゃなかったんだよね。
うん。貯金を全部下ろして家出しちゃったんだって聞いたよ。警察の人が名古屋駅で新幹線に乗るところを見た人がいるとか言ってたもん。
Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took a life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything.
今日は
Whoa!
味の加減を間違えちゃったみたいだね。
Sugoi.
ごめん。
Normally, Rina would have devoured her lunch immediately, but today there was still a ton left. That wasn't because Rina's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though.
そんなことありませんのよ。
Why are you so close?
レナさんのお弁当は今日もとっても美味でしたよ。
Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rina's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other.
美味しい美味しい。今日も格別でしたよ。
Gump, gump.
あれ、それかぼちゃのコロッケだよ。大丈夫？レナさんのかぼちゃならとっても美味しいですわ。
Did Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Grump, grump, grump. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling it down, repeating her mark on how good it was.
そんなにうまいなら俺もいただかないとな。このままじゃ全部サトコに食われちまう。
あんまりにも美味しいので、ぜひケイチさんにも召し上がってほしいですわね。
たまには俺も年上らしい寛大さを見せないとな。よし、遠慮するな。今日は俺の分まで食ってよし。
うわ
She really, really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face.
嘘だよ。そんなにうまいものを譲るほど大人にはなれないよ。レナも食え。俺のは夕べのおでんの残り物だが、おでんは一晩経ってからがうまいんだぜ。
お大根が綺麗な色に透き通ってて美味しそう。じゃあいただこうかな。
Rina reached out with her chopsticks, and at last the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desks, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had reoccurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in the somber mood. Oyashiro-sama's curse happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was Oyashiro-sama's curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people building it were bad. So they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood. I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target.
しかしミオンは遅いな。あいつのお手洗いってこんなに長いのか？
Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet.
多分どっかでお昼寝してるんだと思う。昨べはきっと遅くまで村長さんを探すお手伝いをしてたんだと思うから。
I smiled wryly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no-good day. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
村長さんはね、ちっちゃかった頃、みーちゃんのことをすごく可愛がってくれたんだって。いたずら盛りのみーちゃんをすごく可愛がってくれたって、よく話してたな。
I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Satoko, as if she'd come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward.
そういえばリカちゃんも遅いな。ひょっとしてリカちゃんも仲良くお昼寝か？
リカはそんなに遅くまではお付き合いしませんでしたわ。リカがあくびをしたら皆さんみんなしておやすみなさいませおやすみなさいませって。
Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that?
リカちゃんって何気に年寄りのアイドルだな。理想の孫娘像ってやつなのか？
そんなの知らない。でもリカちゃんのあくびなら見てみたい。きっとね、ふわーって。
What?
お持ち帰り。そんなに可愛いとも思いませんけど、ふわーって喉の奥まで覗けるくらいの大あくびでしたよ。リカちゃんの大あくび。
Rin is handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it right.
リカちゃんのだけじゃなく、さとこちゃんのも可愛いと思うわ。窒息。ちらっと見えた。可愛いの見えた。さとこちゃんのあくびも可愛い。お持ち帰り。
Rena was strangling Satoko. I don't think that counts as yawning. You know, Rena is... I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious... isn't she? Hearing Satoko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there's apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But, well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also, thankfully, on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. For this, if one was placed on day duty with someone liked, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake.
悪態をついても仕方ないな。諦めて仕事を始めるか。
Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me.
兄ちゃん、倉庫裏に菜園があるだろ。
Are you a new and exciting character? Man?
だいぶくたびれかけたぞ。あそこにも水をやってあげな。
あのカレー菜園ですか？じゃがいもとか人参とかカレーの具しか栽培してないっていう。
It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Ren and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring, while everyone was cheering them on. So they're having like a fight club? Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satoku's whirling elbow and Rina's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight. Even if, as a result, they flipped over my desk. Ah, that's my pencil box. Ugh. I'll just let it happen today. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too.
めんどくさいが、やらないと後でいろいろと不利益なことがありそうな気がする。
What's up with this curry vegetable garden? It seems important, like something's going to happen. I gave up, filled the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. And what I saw would scar me for the rest of my life. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pillbugs being around. So when I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised.
リカちゃんか。驚かせるなよ。
Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet, devoid of life. I was the only one who startled her. Or I was the one. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance.
リカちゃん
Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears, and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground.
リカちゃん、ひょっとして怪我したのか？転んだとか？
違うのですよ。違うのです。
Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though.
何があったんだ？まさか倉庫の屋根の上で昼寝とかしてて落ちたとか？
僕のことはいいのです。それよりも、圭一に聞きたいことがあるのです。
Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized that it was so I wouldn't run from the question she was... Oh, no. The question she was about to ask. I shuddered.
俺に、なんだよ。
What do you want? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes, without actually asking me the question.